Hello, everybody, and welcome to It's a Sure Thing, the conscious collective community online show that is streaming across 50 different channels on demand on the Binge TV network syndicate, as well as live on a number of Facebook pages and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. The Enlightened Tribe community is all about community making a difference, people making a difference, sharing with each other and uplifting each other. So this online show is our 21st show since we started this season. And tonight it's the last one for 2021. We'll be coming back on Thursday, the 20th of January, with a whole host of amazing new people to have as guests on the show, sharing their passion, sharing their voice, and sharing their joy to uplift humanity and each other. So it's been an absolute pleasure and delight to be doing this show, and I would like to just quickly acknowledge Adair Palmer, who is the producer behind the scenes, and without her this would just not be happening because she troubleshoots everything. So tonight we've got an amazing woman from South Australia who is an entrepreneur of women, and she's also the author of her own book called My Story, My Soul, which is activating your archetypal codes. So we're going to be talking a little bit more to this amazing lady who has done some fabulous things in the local community, in the South Australian community. I know she's been a mentor to many, many people. I haven't actually met her personally before tonight, so it gives me great pleasure in welcoming the amazing Elizabeth Ellames. How are you, Elizabeth?
Hello, Susan. Yeah, it's good to meet you at last. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've done retreats, women's retreats and events in Australia, Hong Kong and Bali.
Yeah. So I've been sort of working with women in that capacity now for probably around 30 years, I think. And started doing retreats here in Adelaide. And then had the pleasure of meeting somebody who did one of the retreats and seminars, and she said, would you like to take this to Hong Kong? So that's sort of what we did. And then of course there was a community over there who thought it'd be nice to also come to Bali. So that was in the days when people had promoters, which was pretty good fun actually.
Yes. Yeah, that was, it feels like another lifetime ago at the moment.
Yeah.
So before we get stuck into the archetypal stuff, which I'm fascinated to learn about, I just wanted to say to anybody who's listening tonight, please share with your friends and family, let them know we're live, share on your page if you can, and let's spread the joy and let's spread the word. So have you got any events or retreats happening in South Australia soon that we can look forward to?
Oh, probably not till next year, obviously. But there will be something like a release and reclaim retreat that I'll do probably around mid-year, I reckon. Yeah. So nothing like right on the forefront because I've still got a couple more books to complete.
Right, yes. Now, yes. So this first book, My Story, My Soul, it's volume 1 of 3. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So can you share with us what is the living attributes typology? Is this your own creation?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's a typology that's based around archetypes and a spiritual practice. And over the years, it's obviously developed into lots of different aspects of your personality and practice on a daily basis. So the living attributes typology identifies what your 4 main inner archetypes are. And that's in this book, this one, My Story, My Soul. And then the second book goes into how you actually activate that in the world. And then the third book is very spiritual and very focused on women and their spirituality and how it actually works and connects you to your soul on a daily basis. Yeah, so and how you work with that in the community with your group of women. Yeah.
Okay. And is it specifically just for women, or is it for men as well?
I've tried it out on men a little bit, but it's usually with women who have done the work and want to know what their husbands or partners' archetypes are. So it's usually around that sort of frame. But yeah, I really do work with women. There's no doubt about that. That's what I've
Yeah.
always worked with. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
as my husband would say, I know this is a bit naughty, but he said, like it's great, he really does love the work. He said, but it'll probably be about that thick if you did it for men. But you know, they just want the basics, yeah. So that's being a bit naughty, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's just if you could just keep it to 10 things, that would be perfect. 10,
Yeah.
10-point checklist for men. If you can condense it to that in one page, that'd be brilliant.
But it is a go-to book, which is good.
Fantastic. And when did you publish the book? How long has it been?
In September this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so quite soon, quite
Yeah.
recently.
It was interesting actually. The book was really ready in its full capacity in last year during interesting shift, and so I started completing it, ready to launch as a book. And then I spoke to some publishers, and they said, "This is not one book. You need to put that into 3 books." So then that became the process of breaking it up. And of course, it's much more digestible. It's a self-help book, so people want to grasp ideas first up, one aspect, and then the next step, and then the next step. But if you were talking about 20, 30 years of working with women at that level, giving it all to somebody all in one go is probably a little bit too much to digest. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And we'll just acknowledge Ros Boundy. Hello, Ros. She's saying good day, Sue and Elizabeth.
Hello.
Yeah, naughty and true. So you
Oh,
probably
yes,
know.
yes. Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. She's always watching, so thank you. She's a great supporter of this
Oh,
sure
lovely.
thing.
Yeah.
So that's great. And so, Elizabeth, can you tell us a little bit about your personal journey, please, and how that's brought you to where you are with being an author?
Well, yeah, so working with women at that spiritual level has given me a lot of content to be able to work with. I also studied film for 3 years, and in that time I learnt a lot about story. So story, soul, archetypes and purpose, that's really my key elements, and for me they're all connected.
Yeah.
And so story, I don't sort of see it in the sense, from a marketing point of view, like most people do today, and to use your story. I actually believe that story it's a magical force. It's a force of nature in itself, and that's why it's so valuable to us. And it's charged with archetypal forces. So allowing a story to enter you, so that it can actually be used in humanity and live on beyond you, is really what I'm really about, and what I teach, and how that's connected to your soul. So when we talk about archetypal codes, they are actually connected to your story, which is the DNA of your soul, and which of course is your purpose. So your story actually is your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we just have to sift through the forest to get the clarity, don't we? And it can be lengthy process. If we can fast track that in any way and get the guidance with that, then it's a wonderful thing to do, because we all are very creative beings, and that creativity has been squashed a lot. So so it's great to and do you run workshops around this as well?
Yeah. So when somebody has purchased the book, I sort of meet them at their level within the book as well. So we do workshops uh, like a masterclass. I just did a masterclass this month, actually, with people who've been doing the work for quite a while. Actually, there was a few people in the group as well who hadn't. They'd only just got through half of the book. And but you know, obviously in that group setting, it's always really valuable because people learn so much from each other, finding out, oh, so these are your archetypes, and and that's been your experience because of that. And there's a mythos in the front of the book, which is sort of the mythology that I've created around the work, because I really believe that you need a very strong context for things, for content to actually sit in. So, so creating the mythos up front was a really stabilizing aspect of the work, so that people can understand, okay, so you know, perhaps we are the shining ones who have come here to support our planet at this point in time. And there's specific things that we can learn from, and while we're here, and to stay awake, you know. So there's a story at the front that sort of talks about that. And
Well, I like
yeah,
that analogy, and I'm going to stick with that
yeah,
one because that works
yeah,
for me.
yes,
Keeps us moving
exactly.
forward, doesn't it? It keeps us. We've got to find those pillars that keep us moving forward right now.
Mm, mm,
Otherwise, we can really get bogged down. So,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
support mechanism. So you
mm,
support people through that journey.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do they buy the book and then read the book first, and then come on
I
to?
recommend that, or at least sort of get into the book, or at least find out what your 4 archetypes are. Um, and you know, it's so many people are used to doing quizzes today and finding out, you know, like they do on Facebook, and go, oh, that's cute. So everybody wants everything like this, but in actual fact, this is like very grounding, very okay. You know, I'm here to do my soul's work and discover my story, and the power within my story. So it's very much more about that rather than just getting, oh yeah, that's what I am. You know, like, oh, I'm a queen. You know, oh, I'm a this or I'm a that. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
those things come with great power,
yeah.
and that's
And
what people, you know, start to learn, is that you become a gateway for these forces. You aren't just popping a tag, or you know, it's not just a brand, a personal brand.
yeah,
It's actually a responsibility and practice of becoming a gateway for archetypal forces. Mm.
yeah, the embodiment of it rather than
Yeah,
a ego aspect of it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
understand. And so the four levels are the physical, the emotional, the
Mm,
spiritual, the celestial, or the
mm,
life purpose. Um, and so who would you recommend? What
mm.
part of in people's journeys, wherever they are in their life, is there any specific point that they could really benefit from this, or is it just across the board for everybody who wants to get in touch with themselves more?
Well, yeah, definitely. It's for people who want to get in touch with their spiritual side. Um, it's definitely about being on purpose. Yeah, number one, that it's, if anybody has a longing to find out what that is, this is a great program for that, or a typology for that, because it's to help you connect your story and your soul with your purpose. You know, so that you begin to understand that it's actually all one.
Yeah,
Um, so I think there's quite a few people today, like right now, that are in that space, um, and yeah, because yeah, well, you know, there's things that are going on, as we all know, that make us think, well, what am I doing here now? And I think it is waking a few people up who, you know, even woke me up again, you know, you
yeah,
know, so
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, um, yeah, that, like at the front of the book, I sort of talk about that in the introduction, that was like, so I was pretty freaked out about that in the beginning, and it just said, well, you know, come on, girl, you know what you're here for. This is you're the purpose queen. So just, and that's because there was no busyness. You see, you know, when it all started happening last year, and then as the busyness dropped, it was like, oh, you know, it just brought me back to knowing that that's what I'm here to do, and yeah, completed the
And
book basically.
well, I mean, how
Yeah,
perfect is that? You
yeah,
know, you actually were gifted that time,
yeah,
and you've used it in a beneficial way. And everybody has a choice of how they use it
yeah,
and what happens with that. So it's fantastic that you're leading the way in that respect, um, to literally put your life's purpose and your life's work in writing for others. It's like that's your legacy,
yeah,
to support everyone. So it's fantastic.
yeah.
And so with your group, and that's obviously online. It's an online group that you have.
No, no, this has been with women here. Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay,
sometimes I do it online, and I probably will do it more online because now that it's it is a book that can be bought online anywhere. It would be a good idea to yes, start supporting that by having a membership of some sort, with a group of people who want to know more about living attributes, community, and typology. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. And when you were talking about, you can buy the book online and everything, Adair, the producer of It's a Sure Thing, has
Yeah.
actually got an Amazon Facebook live
Oh
show that
yeah.
she does. So I'm sure she would love to connect with
Oh.
you separately and help
Oh, that
promote
would. Yeah.
on Amazon. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
speaks to authors. So I just thought I'd
Oh,
let you
thanks.
know
Yeah.
about that. And for
Yeah.
anybody else that's watching or
Mm,
listening in on the
mm,
replay as well, that yeah, Adair does
mm.
a regular show about on Amazon. So if
Oh,
you've got
great.
a book to sell
Mm,
or a product to sell, then she
mm.
can interview you. So it
Fantastic. Mm.
just keeps getting better and better and better because we just keep promoting people,
Yeah.
and that's, I think that's really important right now. We've got this platform that we're able
Mm.
to access people all over the world.
Yeah.
You're on the online directory, the global online directory that's
Mm,
growing at a rapid rate now,
mm,
which is wonderful because that's a very
mm,
sacred space to find an authentic
mm,
well-being practitioner who really comes from the heart. It's a heart-centered business, and all of
mm.
them are heart-centered businesses. So
Yeah.
it's a very sacred space. And thank you for joining that directory, so
Yeah.
people can find all your information on there and also connect with you via your website and your Facebook page and LinkedIn. Have you got LinkedIn as
Yes.
well?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yes,
all the standard.
they're all there. All the socials are there. Yeah. Mm.
Beautiful. All right, we've got Paula from the Heart Centre Academy of Healing. Hey, ladies. She says, "Hi, Paula. How are you?
Oh, mm,
Finishing up at the academy for your Christmas break, I believe. So this is the last. This is the
mm.
last of the first season. We started in August, so it's our 21st show tonight. So we're 21 years young. That feels
Yeah.
good. Oh
Mm.
dear. So with regards to the different archetypes, are you able to just share a little bit about
Sure.
how people find their archetype or what the process
Yeah.
is?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in the book, there's questionnaires, and and then you just do a score around that. So the higher score obviously is the one that you're more aligned with, and then there's information in there to read as well. So it's a process that you go through yourself as well. You're going, okay, so I've done those scores, and I'm gonna, you have one in the physical, one in the emotional, one in the spiritual, and one in the celestial, and then align a few alignment processes in the back of the book as well. I have to sort of really anchor that into your spirit. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So is it sort of similar to like the Myers-Briggs type
Mm.
indicator, and a little bit like that in the fact that you do a bit of a survey to work it out what kind of
Yeah, so I suppose, yeah, you could sort of say it's a little bit like that, but
only a tiny,
yeah,
tiny bit.
yeah.
Only a
Except, apparently that was Jungian, and it was actually originally quite a spiritual tool, apparently,
yes,
and
yes,
it's just been sort of morphed a bit along the way. But it is a bit like that. It's a typology, so it's
yeah,
identifying things about yourself that you resonate with, and yeah, and sometimes you can have a couple of scores that are the same, or one very, very close, like 1 point out, and then we refer to that as an adopted archetype, and it's usually one that you've come in with. So if a person believes in past lives, it's connected to that, and if that's not in their reality, it's actually an ancestral pass on, so it's been passed on to you by or there's something to heal in your lineage. But a lot of people can relate to the past life stuff in
Yeah.
this realm, or this area, and so you also get to be able to work with that and clear that one up while you're
Yeah.
here at this time, which a lot of people, we did a lot of that at the masterclass actually last time.
Very, very
Yeah,
exciting, isn't it? Very
yeah,
exciting. The awareness, all it takes is just 1%. And once you've opened that up, it's like,
yeah,
one more, one more, one more, one more. It's so
yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the key, is just understanding that we have this sort of ocean of potentiality from our past lives, um, and if we're stuck in that in this life, try it, because it will keep presenting itself until you really get it, and then, of course, then you can really blossom into these other archetypes that are meant for this life. And then that one sort of just takes a seat back a little bit. But a lot of people, when they come to the work in the beginning, the adopted one is really quite ramped up
Yeah.
and presenting things in your life that just are very persistent, because each of the archetypes have light and shadow attributes that need to be corrected and transformed. So there's characteristics, there's a shadow side to each one of them as well.
Yeah.
So say if a person has an adopted healer and they're meant to be their authentic inner archetype in this lifetime is a queen, the healer will be, feel like a victim, and there's all of these other shadow aspects that will keep presenting and wanting to rescue people, and all that stuff that we all know
Mm.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
presents. Yeah.
yeah. So how long does this process take then? So, I mean, I guess it
Mm,
depends on the individual about how deep they need to go and
mm,
how big their purpose is. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, basically, what happens is a person identifies what their inner archetypes are, which are connected to their soul in this aspect of the work, and the primary attribute of each of those archetypes, like I'll just give you an example of myself, it's probably easy to
Yeah.
explain. So I'm a queen in the physical, and the primary attribute for the queen is strength. And then in the emotional, I'm a visionary, and the primary attribute for that is beauty. And then in the spiritual, I'm a divine child, and the primary attribute for that one is loving. And in the celestial, my higher purpose, I'm an alchemist, and the attribute for that is divinity. So, so if I just want to really tune into who I am and my purpose, my soul's purpose, and allow things then from the unified field to actually resonate with me, I just need to be strength, and I need to be beauty and be loving and be divinity. Now, in saying that, there's a process of having to, not burn off, but correct and transform things that, get in the way, from your past or from circumstances around you. So, in order for me to be strength, I have to overcome weakness, and in order to be beauty, I have to overcome what I see as ugliness, and not necessarily just in myself or how people look, but in general, what that attribute actually is. Because
Yeah.
nature's beauty as well. It's not just glamour, and and the same with loving. You have to overcome resentful in order to be loving, and have to overcome feeling earthbound in order to be divinity. So there's challenges that you have to face owning these archetypes as well.
Yeah.
But when you do that, it's, that's probably one of the biggest keys, is knowing, well, that that's my purpose. My purpose is actually to be strength, to be beauty, to be loving, and to be divinity. And how that presents for me is writing books and creating things like that, systems, because that's what alchemists do, and make sure that it's beautiful as well, and just things like that.
That, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really good explanation. Thank you. That's really helped me to dive in a bit
yeah,
deeper with that and really
yeah,
feel it. And it's like your personal vision,
yeah.
and it
Oh,
keeps you
yeah,
centered on
yeah,
point, doesn't it? Because you just
yeah,
kind of keep going. What's my vision? What's my
yeah,
archetype? What is it?
yeah,
Boom, that's what it is.
yeah,
Okay, keep on key,
yeah,
keep on point. That brings
yeah,
me back. That centers me. I love it. That's the
yeah,
anchor.
yeah.
That's great. We'll
Mm,
have to get one of
mm.
your books, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so so it's a valuable tool. It has exercises in there to correct and transform these attributes as well, which is, I still do it all the time, because when you're out in the world, and there's projections that go on, and they may not even be people that you could just be walking through the street, and
Yeah.
yeah, so energetically there can be projections, and you come home, you go, oh wow, how come I feel so bad? And yeah, so so we sort of talk about doing a bit of muscle testing to find out what it is, and there's a chart in there with all of the attributes, and you test that and find out what. Oh, so I don't know where it's come from, but okay, let's correct and transform it, and that's what you do. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Mm.
So living attributes, my story, my soul, activating your archetypal codes
Yeah.
is the book, is your website, is who you are. You are queen, absolutely. You are beautiful, you are strong, and you are making a difference in the world. So, Elizabeth, thank you so very much
Thank
for
you,
joining
Sue.
us. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll just briefly go to ask if anybody's got any
Mm.
questions to ask Elizabeth before we say Happy Christmas.
Mm.
Oh, we must have done a good job. So no questions. Well, thank you, ladies, for listening, and thank you to everybody for watching, and have a fantastic Christmas.
Yes,
And
you too, Sue. Yeah.
celebrations for 2022. What a magnificent year ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.